Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be going over my final fall forecast. So, if any of you are new, which we do get a lot of new viewers when we do winter forecast, fall forecast, pretty much any seasonal forecast, and especially in the cold months we do. But if y'all do go on to enjoy today's video, leave a like down below and subscribe. And any new viewers, just welcome to my channel. I am happy to have you here, and I do hope you enjoy my content. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. So you can see at the bottom left, that is kind of the key. You can look here anytime on the precipitation and temperature maps, and it kind of just tells you what the map does mean. You know, it's just a map key. I think a lot of people do know what that is. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with the blue. That is where I do expect below average temperatures. That's going to be across the Dakotas, eastern Nebraska into Iowa, northern Missouri, central and northern Illinois, northern Indiana, most of Michigan into Wisconsin, and that's where I'm expecting these below average temperatures. So pretty much we'll have a lot of the colder, pretty much in fall we do get a lot of our colder temperatures to come through here. It's not that, we usually do see this quite a bit, so it's not that different than usual. But we will see some colder temperatures here. We'll have more consistent cold throughout the whole fall. We, of course, could have a few days of warm temperatures in between our cold blasts, but mostly the whole time we will be staying cooler, probably the coolest in all of the U.S. Okay, if we were to go ahead and move into the lightest blue, that's going to be our slightly below average temperatures. That's going to be across parts of Montana into eastern Wyoming, into central, pretty much just western Nebraska into Kansas, northern Oklahoma, northern Arkansas, Tennessee, the North Carolina mountains, and across Kentucky, Ohio, southern Illinois, southern and eastern parts of Indiana, very southeastern parts of Michigan, also western Pennsylvania, West Virginia, very western parts of Virginia, and then into western areas of New York. So a lot of places are in this slightly below average. This is probably one of our most extensive ones, and pretty much here we will see colder blast and warmer blast, but by the end of the season we'll see those. Most likely it'll go in as a cooler fall season. So we may just have a few more cooler blasts than the warmer blasts, but here we'll just kind of have something of everything, but more cooler than anything. But pretty much just cooler and warmer, but a little bit more cooler than warmer. Okay, so as we move into the white, that is where I do expect us to have normal conditions or even equal chances. So pretty much here we could see a normal, above average, or below average. So really here you can see anything. A lot of times this is where we do have a lot of stuff going on, and just a lot of flip-flop patterns, which really means is we're just all over the place. So in this white, you could be in the normal, or you could just be all over the place with temperatures. That is what we are expecting within this white area. Okay, as we move into your yellow, that's where I do expect slightly above average temperatures. That's going to be across Florida and to southern Georgia, most of South Carolina, and coastal parts of North Carolina. So here I just expect slightly above average temperatures. We could see some cooler blasts throughout the season, but by the end of the day, just like with the light blue, it should be just a little bit warmer than cooler blasts, and I do expect us to be a little warmer pretty much throughout the whole season here, but some cooler blasts could come through. Pretty much the same thing across parts of New Mexico, eastern Arizona, Utah, northern and eastern parts, some eastern parts of Nevada, moving into Washington and Oregon. I am expecting this too, but I do think we'll have a lot of cooler blasts that can come through here, especially in that yellow. Other than the orange, but that especially this yellow across the west, we could see some cooler blasts come in, but we will mostly see those warmer temperatures. But there are some times where we will see cooler blasts across a lot of these areas. Okay, as we move into your orange, that is where I do expect above average temperatures. That's going to be across most of Arizona, southern Nevada, and California. And really here is just where we're going to be seeing most of the time above average temperatures. There will be some cool downs sometimes, possibly maybe 1 or 2 cool downs just for a short period of time. But really here we're going to be seeing consistent above average temperatures. So when I do say this, a lot of times people say, well, we usually get a lot of snowfall across the mountains, Sierra Mountains. In the Sierra Mountains, even though we're saying above average, that does not mean we won't see snowfall, but most likely we will see less than usual, but we'll still see a lot of snowfall, just like we usually do, but just not as much. Because usually in the Sierra Mountains, we do end up getting a lot, but just less than, especially last year. Last year we did have a lot. So a little different this year. A little below average this year with that snowfall. Okay, as we move into your precipitation, we're going to go ahead and move into this precipitation. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and move into it. So with the precipitation, we're going to start with the darkest green. There are two shades of green. Those are both above average temperatures. Okay, these shades of green right here, you can see one right here and one right here. These are the same thing. It's just where I did have to color over another color. So both of those medium colors of green are both above average temperatures. So in these areas, I'm expecting us to have some nor'easters and some tropical activity. So the nor'easter track, once I get this up, I'll show you in a minute. But where we usually do see this, where I'm expecting a lot of that moisture to come from in the coastal areas are going to be, tropical systems. But as we do move into these regions around here, I am expecting us to see some nor'easters. Hopefully, they aren't too bad, but we are expecting some nor'easters, and this should be where we see most of our impacts from it in this area. So that is why that is highlighted as that, just because it's what we're expecting with nor'easters and some tropical activity. You always do have to add that for fall, especially because we are in an above average season already. So that's what we're expecting. Okay, also we moved that into parts of Illinois, into Missouri, into Indiana, and parts of Ohio, also into Kentucky and Tennessee. We are expecting above average temperatures there too. As we move into your slightly above average precipitation, if I say temperatures on precipitation, I hope y'all do know what I mean. I do mean precipitation. But in that lightest green, once again, slightly above average precipitation, and that's going to be across Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Texas, eastern Texas mostly, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, most of Pennsylvania, New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, also into parts of Maine I'm expecting it. So a lot of areas we are expecting this. In a lot of the Northeast, this is where we do have a lot of debate in this one area. I do think we might be a little bit above average, but I do think we could be a little normal too. So that is kind of the area where the most uncertainty is on this map. Everywhere else I don't have much uncertainty, but right here it just depends on the amount of nor'easters we do get to come up. That's why you are in that, just because we could see some nor'easters there. And of course we do have a lot of those Clipper systems that do come through here a lot of times, and we're already getting into the pattern where we're getting a lot of storms from Canada to come through, so I am putting that just because that's what we're expecting. Now if we move into a lot of these areas, I do think right here we'll be all over the place. The earlier months like September, maybe even early October, I'm expecting us to have above average just because of tropical systems. Like if it made landfall in Louisiana or eastern Texas, this is where we would expect it. But if we were to move into November, it is less likely to have a tropical system. It's not totally out of the picture, but that is when we could dry off a little bit. But most of the season, when we look back at this, we should be around somewhere in that above average, and I do think we will be in that slightly above average. But just expect above average, especially across a lot of these areas, if we do get a lot of those tropical systems to come through, which is expected. If we were to move into the white, that is our normal temperatures. Precipitation, once again, that's what I'm expecting in those white areas. That's going to be across eastern Washington into Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, eastern Arizona. We are expecting this to be normal or some equal chances, so something of everything, or you could just be in normal conditions. Okay, as we move into your yellow, that is going to be below average precipitation. Right here will be in most of Arizona, into central Nevada, also into Washington, western Washington, also into most of Oregon. So here is where I do expect us to have some rain. I'm not expecting us to go to total drought in some of these areas, but I'm not expecting to see too much rain. So especially from here south. So if you're in this area, we could see some rain, but will most likely be a little below average. But if you're up here, somewhere up here near Washington and not through, sorry, Seattle and Portland, Oregon, I am expecting us to be close to normal when it does come to rainfall this year, but I do think by the end of it, we might be a little bit below average, but not too below average. But we are going to have to see. I did put you in the slightly below average just to be a little safe. Okay, as we do move into the orange, that is where I'm putting below average precipitation. That's going to be most of California, western Nevada, and southwestern areas of Oregon. So pretty much right here is where it will most likely be noticeable. We will see maybe, we will see some rain. It's not like we're going to miss out on all the rain, but by the end of it, we will definitely be seeing below average, and you will pretty much, I do think we will be able to tell, people that do live there, I think they will be able to tell. Okay, as we do move in to your severe weather, you can see right here, it has moved a lot south and east this fall. This is what happens every year, just because a lot of that cooler air does come into a lot of the Midwest into the Northeast. So we're going to start with the possible. This is in your lighter red. So in the lighter red is where I do expect possible severe weather. It's not going to be all over the place, just because in a lot of these areas we could be getting a little cooler, especially up here and across parts of Texas. We are still going to have to see, just because it is one of those years where we might get the cooler temps to come down, and we might be a little below average on the precipitation. As you can see, I did put slightly above average, but you do have to remember I said towards the end it could be a little drier, so I did put you in the possible just because we are going to have to see. But as we move into that darker red, I'm expecting us to be in those likely severe weather conditions. So that's going to be across Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, southern Virginia, central Virginia, also into southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, Alabama. So pretty much here I'm expecting likely conditions for severe weather. Usually, we usually do see a lot, especially as we move into your October. We see a lot across a lot of these areas, but whenever we do get these tropical systems to come through, sometimes we can see severe weather also. So adding on the tropical systems and just how it does shift a lot southeast, and we do see a lot of those severe storms across a lot of the southeast, I do think we could be in those likely severe weather conditions. Okay, as we move into our last map, this is going to be the tropical systems map, and we're going to start with the blue. That's where I do expect possible tropical conditions. This is going to be across parts of Delaware into New Jersey. Also, as we move into Rhode Island, I'm pretty sure. Sorry, I don't know my states completely when it comes to the Northeast. Parts of coastal Massachusetts, Connecticut, so anywhere there, it is possible to be in some of it. Maine's, of course you're not out of the question, but I'm not expecting it at all. So in that blue is possible, but I think the waters are going to be too cool up there by the time we get into your late fall. So I did put possible just because we usually don't get much stuff to come up here, and we're going to have a lot of cooler conditions across here a little earlier this year. So that's why I'm not expecting it to be like that, because we will have a lot of these cooler conditions moving east throughout the season, just gradually. But that's what I am expecting. Usually that's just how it is. The waters get cooler once we get up there, and it's just not as favorable. As we do move into your pink, this is where I expect likely conditions. So anywhere in this pink is pretty much across the whole Gulf Coast of the Texas coast, Louisiana coast, Mississippi, and Alabama coast, the Florida Panhandle, Florida West Coast, Florida East Coast, the Georgia coast, South Carolina coast, and North Carolina coast, and around the very southern Virginia coast, near like Virginia and Norfolk. So here's where I do expect likely. So pretty much across a lot of these pink areas, we usually do see tropical activity every single year somewhere in this pink shade. So anywhere in this pink shade, you should be aware, and should anywhere in here just expect a tropical system this fall, because September, I'm telling you, is going to be very active this year. Hopefully, I think this will come up before September. This is currently the 24th of August, but you know, I did, after all this tropical fiasco that's about to happen, I did want to try to fit this in. So, yeah. So, that is where I do expect our tropical conditions this fall. So, yeah, guys, I hope y'all did enjoy today's video. If you did, consider subscribing and leaving a like down below. Have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next video.